LibertyMutual.com to learn more.
And now, with the Only in America Minute, here's your host, Bill Cochran.
Wow, the border is wide open. They're busting them all across the country, you know? People that really don't belong in America. I mean, there is a process to come into America legally. I mean, you can go get a lawyer and you can go through immigration and you can become an American citizen. But when the mayors of the cities in America are starting to complain, there's got to be something wrong, especially when they're Democrat mayors in these cities. I mean, they're worried. So what do they think the conservatives and the Republicans and just the plain old American person is thinking as well?
I'm ready for
it's got to stop. You got to close that border, Joe. Think about it.
It's time to play Trump or Consequences. Ready, Jill?
Yep.
Thinking about Anna Paulina Luna and Kevin Hazlett in the race for Congress, who did President Donald Trump praise as a veteran who served our country in the military and, quote, puts America first?
Anna Paulina Luna. Gotta be. Luna knows freedom ain't free.
Right, Jill. Next, who did Trump endorse for Congress?
Anna Paulina Luna. I know Trump backs Luna and only Luna.
Correct. Luna has Trump's complete and total endorsement. Last question. Who joined with Hillary and the Democrats in 2016 to attack Trump over his taxes?
Who did that?
Kevin Hazlett.
So why would a Republican back Hazlett?
Good question. Because if you stand with Trump, Anna Paulina Luna is the right answer for Congress. Paid for by Club for Growth Action, clubforgrowthaction.org, and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Club for Growth Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
What's the buzz in Tampa Bay? Senior Voice America Radio, a unique morning variety program delivering the latest commentary on politics by host and political analyst Tim Bryce, and the up-to-minute happenings of Wall Street by co-host and financial veteran Berkeley Badger. Beyond politics and finance, they scale the scholar's rampart by including topics on religion and nutrition with thought-provoking guests and interviews. Tune in every weekday from 8 to 10 a.m. on this Tan Talk station. Senior Voice America, serving our nation's seasoned citizens for over 4 decades.
Hi, this is Paul Malloy, host of Freedom Works, The Paul Malloy Show. I hope you'll join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, here on the Tan Talk Radio Network, where we strive to bring you the libertarian perspective on political events of the day. There's no show quite like Freedom Works, with in-depth interviews, our ultimate top 10 list, and so much more. So join us for Freedom Works, The Paul Malloy Show, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Dawn with Sunkist Charters. Come and sail with us on a 37-foot endeavor out in the Gulf of Mexico. Up to 6 people, $100 an hour, 3-hour minimum. You can split it between each other. Pet friendly, bring your own food, drinks, restrooms on board. Make it a memory maker. Call 727-871-7788 or call 727-315-4936. SunkistCharters.com. We'll see you out at the Gulf of Mexico.
Eat, Shop, and Play is heard every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. Your hosts, Polly and Rochelle, will be introducing you to some of the best services, shops, boutiques, stores, and restaurants in our area. Every week, they'll bring you a new and exciting guest and a few cat stories, too. That's Eat, Shop, and Play with your host, Polly and Rochelle, every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Tonight, Wednesday, August 3rd, the Tan Talk Network and the Chapters Network proudly present from 5 to 6 p.m. Kicking Unhealthy Relationships to the Curb with host Stephanie McPhail and Steve Vaccaro, special guest Janelle. From 6 to 7 p.m. Voices for Change with host Miriam Putnam and Jara, special guest Dr. Deepa Verma. Then, from 7 to 8 p.m. Reach Out with host New York Yankees community consultant Ray Negron, Frankie Valli's musical director Robbie Robinson, and psychologist Steve Vaccaro. Special guest Diana Munson, Jill Martin, Bucky Dent, Nikki Rivers, plus Mel Campos and Paul Armendola. Lastly, from 8 to 9 p.m., the Chapters Wrap with special guest Steve Malsberg, That's tonight, Wednesday, August 3rd, live on the Chapters Network and the Tan Talk Radio Network.
For those who came before us, those when we are gone, the war is not yet over, so we go marching on. And though we feel divided, we know we're not alone. For troops of rain united, come a mighty storm.
I'm so done with the politics, the love, the hate, the real, the fake, the victim, card to pick. The left, the right, the up, the down, I don't know which is which. I tried to show them to the water, but I lost some friends. I didn't want to think no handles like I'm Adam's kid. Tried to break me with them, but they had me wondering, do they deserve the respect and all the love I give? Opened up my heart and my mind, in return I gave. Was a hardship, had no cover, no umbrella, only rain on cerebellum. In the ocean with my fellas, but it's broken, no propeller. Find a way to get out, tell out, rock the crowd when it was hell out. Heaven knows I'm doing swell, I'll ride this wave until I wipe out. I could never ever bail out, but can anybody tell me why is when you catch it when they always see it sell out? Well, I try my bestest, yes, I tried to make us better, and I hope you find this bottle in the ocean with this message.
For those who came before us, and those when we are gone, the war is not yet over, so we go marching on. And though we feel divided, we know.
All right, here we go. Hi, guys. Jared, was that you?
That is me, yes. Myself and another artist named The Marine Rapper, and that is our song, Mighty Storm.
Oh my gosh, I love Mighty Storm.
Thank you. That was a good one. I haven't heard that one in a minute. I was getting a little emotional over here. I love that song.
So beautiful. Yeah, well done.
Thank you. Well, here we are, Miriam and Jara, on our show Voices for Change every Wednesday night, highlighting freedom fighters and those fighting for our basic human rights across all kinds of different professions and platforms.
That's right. Thank you so much. And yes, Jara, you've been doing a lot of freedom fighting lately, at least with your voice, man. Anytime you can get on a stage and impress the audience and stand for human rights and everything you're doing, you do it.
Yeah.
And do it well.
Well, thank you. Yes, I've been a busy girl, just putting it out there that, you know, when you are an independent artist, and I've come away from the mainstream entertainment industry because I did not agree with all of the things involved that I would have to do to be a part of it.
Well, sure. I mean, and you have actually really powerful advocacy story now, right?
Yeah.
Because you reached like sort of the pinnacle and you're about to kind of leap off and you went, wait a second, hold on. My integrity is not really sitting well with this situation. And so I really have to like, you know, kind of take a mental health break, so to speak, and make sure that I'm making the best decisions for myself and my future. And that's what you did. And you kind of started over.
Absolutely. I started all over again. And I was definitely in a very good position towards the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. With possibly my own actual record label, everyone I've ever wanted to work with on board, looking at actually in line for a major film and potential of a TV show as well. And just really had to look at all of it and say, if there's any content or anything involved in any of this, or if the money's coming from a place that I don't believe in, or if there's certain things pushing or maybe funded by pharmaceutical companies, all of this, the back end of things that people don't pay attention to all the time, I just can't be involved anymore.
Yeah, right. Unfortunately, there's like pretty corrupt things going on as far as those scenes happen to be.
Yeah.
So well done. I mean, you did. You literally stepped back and you're like, okay, I'm going to make the greatest decision for myself and my future, even though it's going to be the harder one.
It was scary. I'm not going to lie. And I know I've told this story several times on our show and continue telling it even on other people's shows and platforms.
Yeah, but it's important for people to hear, right?
Yeah.
Because like sometimes people might be lacking the courage.
That's right.
To take the first step, and maybe they're second guessing themselves and they're thinking like, hey, wait, it's too hard. I don't know if I can do it. They're having all these doubts and reservations.
That's right.
So hearing stories over and over again about how did I manage to make it? How did you manage to make it? And I'm so excited about our special guest today because she has an inspirational story as well. So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but thank you so much. Continue.
No, that's right. That's perfect. And the truth is that I mean, obviously we have a guest and I want to tell your story as well. And you can never tell someone's whole life in just like 10 minutes.
No.
But I will definitely say that it was the scariest decision that I ever made to come away from the mainstream entertainment industry and just truly stand for everything that I believe in, fighting for human rights, fighting for freedom. Now, even working with you, Miriam, and linking up for the first time in my life and really investigating and looking at mental health care reform, because that's a huge situation going on in the world right now. So,
definitely.
And you know what I will say? From the moment that I made that decision, everything aligned properly in my life. So things that were hard before, or when I was pushed. Now, listen, I still push and I work very hard. You know, none of this has happened by mistake. You know, I've gotten myself on these major stages. I've gotten myself involved with different, people and groups, and it takes a lot of work, but it's different because now it's moving in the right direction. I put in the work and I get a product. Whereas before there was always something that felt like it was holding me back a little bit. Anytime that I was even slightly outside of my own integrity.
Yeah, right. I mean, sometimes our own integrity can actually put force on us and push us back.
That's right. And I will say this a million times for the rest of my life. Anytime that I was not fully within my own integrity, being maybe pushed to deliver a message I didn't fully believe in, being pushed to represent something that I didn't want to, it didn't quite go well, or it fell apart, or there was some kind of disaster going on in my life. And that's not happening anymore because I'm 100% with my personal integrity in, and being an artist and being an advocate for freedom. And I have to say, it's been the best time of my life so far.
Well, that's fantastic. I know. I love the name that we chose for Voices for Change, because it is about using the power of our voices to create positive energy, right? To really create positive energy in our community, in the world, wherever it may be, wherever light needs to be shined on, right? Because unfortunately, there's still a lot of darkness.
Yeah.
And so we're using our voices for change, and to shine light.
And that's why I love this show and the platform that it's given us, obviously with Tan Talk Radio here in Florida and the Chapters Wrap, nonprofit organization that's allowing us to also be involved on the radio in Florida and New York, because just to have the opportunity to interview so many different people. We've already had a major musician, Topher. We've had Dr. Peter McCullough in the medical field. We had a freedom fighter, Sean Fredrickson in California, and then someone working for the Citizens Commission of Human Rights here in Florida. Now we have another, double board certified MD speaking tonight. We have more artists coming on. We're just trying to show you that no matter what field you are in, there is always that moment. And it does take courage to say, I think I need to do something about this. And we're constantly trying to move people and talk about that moment that really moved the person from seeing a situation that they didn't like and doing something about it, because that is the moment where it all begins. And that's the moment where a lot of people are hinging in unfortunately in fear right now.
Right.
So to keep telling these stories of, overcoming that and then seeing people's success on the other side, like we want to empower people and move you into action.
Yes, definitely. And that's why I'm so excited about Dr. Deepa Verma coming on tonight, because she has such an inspirational story of surviving lots of different things and then creating a beautiful wellness clinic called Synergistic. So we're excited to have her on tonight.
Yeah. And speaking of all of that, Miriam, you are quite the freedom fighter as well. I'm always extremely honored, first and foremost, to know you as a person and call you a friend.
Aww.
And then to be able to do this radio show with you, because guys listening out there, on the radio and obviously live streaming on YouTube and Facebook right now, this woman never stops. She is absolutely a force to be reckoned with in the field of human rights and mental health care reform. I don't know too many people that work harder than you. And
that's very
so
sweet.
Please tell us some of the stuff that you've been up to.
Well, overall, I went to a few conferences the past couple of weeks in regards to reforming the field of mental health, and ensuring that the public's human rights are safeguarded. It's very important to me. And also I've been working with Miracles Outreach a ton. And
now, could you tell our guests, because they might not know what Miracles Outreach is, could you tell them a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, Miracles Outreach is Florida's largest girls' home, and girls that live there are between the ages of 12 to 17. And unfortunately, they have either been abused and or trafficked. And so girls are either rescued from from trafficking situations, and then they are always put in the foster care system, and then they have to be found placement. And a lot of places won't take a kid who's been trafficked. So that's one of the things that sets Miracles Outreach apart from other group homes.
Yeah, because they're considered high risk, right?
Yeah, the kids are considered high risk. They are more likely to run away. They're more likely to have to change placements. A lot of the kids that live at Miracles Outreach have, been like 8 to 15 different placements. So the type of care and love that the care workers have in their hearts there is extremely high, and it's impressive. So I work a lot with Miracles Outreach, and have been starting another foundation called Imagine Foundation that is going to be like the events fundraising platform to help with the wellness program that we're implementing out there at the group home. So everything I do is surrounding human rights in the field of mental health, and that's how Dr. Rurman and I got to be pretty close, because she does a lot of work as far as that goes too.
I love that. And also, you've mentioned the wellness program before a couple of times, but could you tell people a little bit more about what that is? What is the wellness program with this Miracles Outreach Foundation?
Well, so the Miracles Outreach is going to have the first ever wellness program unfold, hopefully by the end of this year. It keeps we've run into little snags here and there, but for the past year, I've been recruiting holistic medical doctors that have the love in their heart to care for kids and aren't doing what they do. Whatever. I'm just going to avoid all that. They just really want to see the world be a better place.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times kids in care are on 1 to 5 psychotropic medication. And unfortunately, the child doesn't get a chance to grow up and have a healthy brain. And, because the child's brain can develop until they're like 24 and even sometimes 30. I mean, I'm not a medical doctor. That would not be my specialty. This is just from what I've read about. But what the wellness program would do is just have better healthy foods in the group home, better care, meaning not to knock any doctors out there whatsoever, because I know doctors are all trying to help in their own way. But this specifically would just be so that the child has a chance to get healthier food, get on a really good exercise program. And the exercise program could be yoga. It could be, running around. It could be going on hikes. It could be going on, visualization walks. It could be doing all these different sorts of things. And the biggest thing that I'm so excited about is that we're going to actually set up a wellness center where there's going to be a place for kids to get intravenous vitamin drips.
I love that. And that's what sometimes, people, when you're not in the field and you're not really boots on the ground, even because I've worked with you a bit with some of the fundraisers and stuff for Miracles, and hearing these children speak about their stories, it's, oh my gosh, you can't. But
it's heartbreaking, right?
It is. But the truth is also that people don't realize when a child has been in a situation like that, going from foster care system to foster care system, or being trafficked or whatever it is, they may not have ever even been taught the basics of nutrition, of drinking water, of taking certain vitamins. They don't know. So it's actually extremely important to start there, because that's where most healing begins. You have to get the body right, and then you have to handle, mind and soul, in my opinion.
Well, sure. Right. And it's all of us are trying to balance the mind, body, soul connection, right? In our own way. And, the wellness program is also going to have an element that has to do with the environment, right? Making sure that the water system is up to par, and that children are drinking healthy water, and making sure that there are no environmental toxins in the building, so every single box will be checked just to make sure that the environment is healthy as possible, and then the care is there.
Yeah. So these children can heal and go on to have very beautiful lives, as many of them have.
Yeah, definitely. There's amazing success stories that come out of there.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. And did you have a video you wanted to show regarding Miracles?
Yeah, there is. There is a video. It is Imagine Foundation is partnering with Miracles Outreach for the Wellness Center. Anyway, I don't know if that's going to come up here anytime, but it is a really cool video. It's inspirational because it's just the health that the kids deserve in the future, and kind of a yoga room. And, what's also really cool about the Wellness Center is that we're going to have a school on one side of it. So it's going to be kids can go there and girls mainly,
Mhm.
right? Because they want to do pedicures, or they want to get their hair done, or they want to do their nails, and they want to go to school so that they can graduate miracles and actually have a trade.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know. There might. If we don't have kids healthy, we don't have a very good future.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And what we have in our nation right now is 8 to 10 million kids at least on psychotropic medication. And so from my viewpoint, we really got to turn the nation more into a direction of a healthy body, right?
Absolutely. And when you say, by the way, just really quick, and then obviously we're going to bring Dr. Verma on, but just for our audience, because sometimes we are familiar with words and they may not be, but we're talking about lots of different types of drugs. So when you say the word psychotropic drug, maybe you could define that for...
Right. I'm talking about Ritalin,
Mhm.
Adderall, different antidepressants. I'm talking about antipsychotics,
Mhm.
sleep aids. These are the type of medications that are usually put under the whole entire big category
Mhm.
of psychotropic medication. So
Yeah, which have very, very dangerous side effects, which I'm so happy to see finally in the last 2 weeks alone have, come on all over different news stations,
Yeah,
finally indicating.
I know, but I just really look forward to it really being on even a bigger scale, right?
Sure.
So that we actually end up seeing policies changing and insurance companies changing and actually, real health and wellness being covered.
Absolutely. And I always like to take the opportunity, guys, because I have paperwork here in front of me. So you know that it's not my opinion. Just because I just said, there are dangerous side effects. These are very well documented. You can always look into them at, cchr.org.
Yeah, you can go to Citizens Commission on Human Rights, definitely, and find that data. You can also go to the National Institute of Mental Health, the federal website, and you can also find them on the FDA website. I mean, these I like to actually call them harmful effects instead of side effects, because from my viewpoint, they are more likely than not to actually come about.
Yeah. And so just so you guys know, I have this paper in my hand right now. It's reports to the FDA's MedWatch system on violent adverse effects linked to psychiatric drugs. And on here, it actually has the breakdown of homicidal ideation, which means ideas of homicide, hostility, physical assault, homicide, psychosis, violence-related symptoms, aggression, suicide is a big one. So the fact that a lot of these kids get put on these drugs to help them with suicidal thoughts, and then one of the harmful effects is suicide.
I know.
Is what Miriam and I are fighting the good fight for.
Yeah, right. There you go. And, since we are a human rights show, I just wanted to read our Article 5 to everyone is no one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment or punishment.
Absolutely. We are a human rights show, everybody. We say that. I usually say it at the top, but I'll say it again. You can have different political ideas, different ideas about race, religion, all kinds of other identities and things going on in the world right now. But the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted in 1948. There are 30 of them, and they are incredible because they are agreed upon by the United Nations. So many different countries came together and said, this is a great foundation for what your basic human rights are. Everybody everybody has them and they should not be taken away. So we like to boil everything down to that, because then it's non-political, it's non-this, it's non-that. It's just your basic human rights.
Sure. I mean, I really think that people can agree on that.
I hope they can, because it's your basic human rights.
Exactly. Oh,
well,
goodness.
shall we bring on our amazing, beautiful guest?
Oh my gosh, Sheriff, are you going to read everything about her?
I'm going to give a little,
I mean, the audience, whoever's listening right now, their jaws are going to drop, because this woman is just like, whoa.
She's gorgeous.
She's absolutely gorgeous. And her Rolodex of all her clients and her experience and everything she does and flies around and helps so many people is just as impressive.
Absolutely. So if you're listening on the radio and then you want to watch the show later on the Chapters Wrap on YouTube, you can watch it afterwards and you can see all the beauty that's about to hit the screen.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is Dr. Verma, and she is a double board certified MD. She has a passion for wellness, fitness, and living a healthy lifestyle. Now, some time ago, Dr. Verma created Synergistic Wellness during a tumultuous period in her life. With her father passing away unexpectedly and going through a divorce simultaneously while having 3 little boys, she knew she had to turn these obstacles into stepping stones. So Synergistic Wellness represented a rebirth of her soul. She has 2 locations. One is in Clearwater and the other one is in South Tampa in Florida. And she has more plans on expanding that. And here's the amazing thing as well. Dr. Verma is a faculty and keynote speaker for several forums, including the International American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. And here's my favorite part. She has long been an advocate for mental health, having herself gone through personal challenges and experiences. So let's bring her on, because it's always a beautiful thing when someone has gone through what could be considered a very negative time of their life, and they've used that to pivot and turn it into something positive. So
Right, it's like
Dr.
a
Verma,
rebirth.
yeah,
It's like a rebirth.
So Dr. Verma, please come on and thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Thank you.
We love our applause.
I know. I love it. Thank you.
I know. And look at your beautiful skin. You're just gorgeous.
Oh my gosh. You guys are gorgeous too.
Oh.
Thank you.
I love it.
Well, it's a pleasure having you. Obviously, you and Miriam have known each other for a bit. How did you guys meet, and what's your story on connecting through advocacy?
Well, she helps me as far as getting this body like tip-top shape.
I love that.
She's helped me. I'm really like, yay, Dr. Verma.
And then Dr. Verma, obviously this says that, you were going through a tumultuous time in your life, and there are certain things that set you on the path of seeking out mental health care reform. And is there a personal story you would like to share with us regarding what was kind of the catalyst that sent you in that direction in your life?
Yeah, I think it really started when I was a young girl. I mean, I grew up in a very, dysfunctional household. Didn't really have any, it was a family of 4. So on the outside, it looked, great. I have a brother, then 2 parents, but I didn't have any parental guidance. I was very distant from my mother. She didn't really know how to be a mother, and I'm not blaming her. She had her own issues from childhood. So when you have to look at mental health, you have to really trace it back in the lineage. We carry generational curses. A lot of these things are genetic, but we can break those curses. So I really grew up having to fend on my own to really be more mature than I should be. I never enjoyed a childhood. I was not allowed to have any friends. At the end, it didn't really matter. I guess I am an introvert and an empath, and I don't do well in large crowds. I have to channel energy. I didn't understand what I was feeling when I was younger, and I always thought I was a little odd. But, the intuitive personalities and those type of things led me to where I am. So I really had a very, very difficult childhood. Bullied all the time too. I'm first born generation as an Indian American from India. So just being different, growing up in an all white neighborhood, it was very challenging for me because nobody understood my culture. Yet today we embrace so much of what my culture has to offer.
Oh
Everything
my gosh.
Thank goodness.
Yes. From
Thank goodness
the
for that.
jewelry to, I know, yoga, the jewelry, the food. I mean, that was so alien at that time, but now it's everything that the Western culture embraces. So I'm proud, being where I am now. But it was definitely a challenge. High school and college. College was just such a difficult time. I was just not accepted into any crowds. Then I had my brother who suffered from tremendous and still suffers from tremendous mental, I don't know how to say it, but I guess, I want to say mental health issues. He went from high school and left to go to India. He didn't get an my parents wanted him to go to med school. And so in our culture, we often regard, going into medicine and engineering as very, with a high praise. And so we sent him off. He went to India. I guess he went a little bit kind of out of his way in terms of the way he was living. He experimented with drugs and alcohol. He did have epilepsy that was diagnosed when he was 6. That's a whole nother issue, I think, when we talk about how the brain is affected and the lobes of the brain. They were petit mal seizures, so they were kind of those staring seizures. It wasn't convulsions. He just had, I think, a hard time really finding his place as well. But he went to India, suffered a lot of damage there. I mean, he got into some motorbike accidents, went into deep depression. I think he's a people pleaser. I don't really know, the full extent of what we were never close, unfortunately. So I'm not really close to anybody in my family. And he became suicidal. He tried to take his life a few times. He's tried all these different, therapies that are out there in traditional medicine to try to heal himself. That was really of to no avail. So he sought out his own help. He's done, traveled to like Colombia to do ayahuasca and try to do much more natural remedies. I do see him technically as a patient and try to help him. And I do have several modalities that I use for my patients as well. But really the recognition of what is the root cause is part of it. And really taking into account, where did these issues stem from? And a lot of these things, when we talk about mental health, do stem from childhood. And I don't think physicians, and I am a traditionally trained MD, we're not taught to really look at the root cause, whether it's, mental or physical or emotional. So I have 4 types of health that I always preach to my patients. It's mind, body. Yes, mind, body, spirit is important. And that's a big part of Ayurvedic medicine. It's really looking at your mental, physical, emotional, and sexual health. It's really embracing all of those. And I have 4 pillars of health that I really, and you guys had touched upon this, is looking at basically a clean diet, exercise, restorative sleep, and stress reduction. And when you give this kind of foundation to children, especially, you lay a really strong groundwork for them. It's, building a building. If it doesn't have a strong foundation, it's going to eventually crumble. So really allowing people to understand that it's these simplistic things that we often overlook. It's like ignoring the elephant in the room. People jump to these, extraordinary things that they have to try to take that are not always helpful for them. And whether they're pharmaceuticals or looking into more westernized and clinical medicine without actually getting to the root cause of it, as I think a lot of what our issues lie in. It's, okay, let me just medicate the person. I don't care how old they are. They could be 6 years old. He's jumping all around. Let me put him on Ritalin or Adderall.
Right.
You have to talk about the diet, talk about their household, the environment that they're in. Nobody talks about that. I mean, just simple changes with diet, taking out artificial dyes and coloring and processed sugar can make a world of a difference. And I see tons of kids with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just a side personal note, both my sister and then I, luckily my family caught it with her young, but even I as an adult had certain food allergies that I didn't know about that were so destructive to my mental and my physical well-being that, I was possibly being diagnosed with all kinds of things. And it really came down to blood tests for food allergies, which completely revolutionized my life. So like you said, getting to the core of some of these things that could be happening that people aren't looking at.
Well, sure. And I mean, I would think, Dr. Berman, that you would just, as a physician, that we would hope, right, that society would go through all of these different checks to find out that what the body is needing before prescribing a pretty harmful medication to a kid. At least that is definitely my viewpoint. And I think the healthier we can help our kids stay and become, I think the better off. Well, Dr. Verma, you have pretty big plans for Synergistic Wellness. Can you tell us what all you're going to do?
Yeah, tell us more about Synergistic. First of all, it's a great name.
Oh my God. and let me tell you, her spots, her clinics are just gorgeous.
Well, I need a spa day, so let's talk about that afterwards.
Yes,
but yes, please.
Yes.
You guys are invited, of course. Yeah, I started 10 years ago. And, as you guys sort of alluded to, it was definitely during a very challenging part of my life. I don't believe that, things should really bring us down. I believe everything happens for a reason. There's always something that's going to come out of it. And even if it's something that's negative, there is going to be something that was just meant to be. And so when my dad passed away unexpectedly from being on a pharmaceutical he shouldn't have been on, I mean, he was very vibrant. He was 69. He looked like he was 60.
Wow.
It was on my mom's birthday, actually. And he took this medication he wasn't supposed to, passed out, went into cardiac arrest, and that was it. And I'm glad it was a sort of peaceful death for him, but it shouldn't have happened, but it did.
Yeah.
And that's at the same time, my husband decided to tell me that he's having an affair and wants to get a divorce. And,
Oh my goodness.
of course, I am a very strong person, but you're still human and you feel all sorts of emotions.
Of course.
And when the two important men from a woman's life are taken away, you're helpless. You feel like, what am I going to do? But I knew that these obstacles were not going to be that. They were going to be a way for me to leverage myself and to become stepping stones for something bigger and greater. I was really fed up with traditional medicine. I never have lived my life that way. Again, I always have had that intuition of really taking recognition of the mind, body, spirit connection from a very young age. I think I was a little bit more emotionally mature than most people were. And probably the situation I was in, I had to be. So I was not happy with sitting there, seeing a patient for 15 minutes under insurance, which really supports sick care. It's not health care, right? We're reactive, right? We wait for people to be sick mentally and physically, and then we try to fix the problem. But nobody is trying to be preventative and proactive. So in the type of medicine that I do, it's catching things before it actually happens. So it allows me to identify and give people a window to the future and say, you don't have to get to that point and just accept feeling the way you do. So it was a perfect time for me to break free from this traditional healthcare. I randomly decided to take a course in integrative medicine, and then I took the boards. They're like, no, you need to study for about 6 months to a year to pass this. Well, I took the course for a week, and I just had a good feeling. I took it. I passed it with flying colors.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you. And I became double board certified. And then one thing led to another. I mean, I left my primary care position and I kind of moonlighted. I was a medical advisor for a rehab facility for a year. And that was very, very enlightening to see people with addiction and mental health issues. And it just really hit home to me,
It's heartbreaking stuff.
And that, may I ask, that was drug rehabilitation or actual like physical therapy rehabilitation when you say a rehab center? Okay, good. Just so our audience can understand.
And even pharmaceuticals. And, when we talk about psychotropic meds, they are as harmful as taking any other type of drugs. I mean, these things are synthetic substances. They are, like you said, they're not side effects. These are adverse effects.
Yeah.
Ultimately, people are going to die from these, or they're going to just have their life go downward, because the number one cause of death in America, especially in the elderly, is polypharmacy. It's being on too many pharmaceuticals at one time. People come to me to get off of their pharmaceuticals. And I don't care if it's for blood pressure, for cholesterol, for diabetes, or for mental health. They come to me and say, please get me off of this. I am not feeling good. I do a lot of neurotransmitter testing for mental health. I do gut health testing, hormones. I mean, I do things that people don't even think of. And when you give these people these answers, they're like, wow, I never knew I had these issues. Even something like mycotoxins or heavy metals, these can change you.
Absolutely.
Definitely. It almost like literally, I've got to tell you, Dr. Verma, it brings a tear to my eye.
Me too. I'm a little emotional over here.
I mean, you really you're giving people's lives back to them.
Yep.
You literally are giving people's lives back to them.
I mean, I don't ever feel like I'm this, this God or something that's come down. My goal is to, I don't want people to think I have this complex.
No, but I mean, it's true though. I mean, it's so important that you stood up to go to integrative, get a double board certified and make a change with your life. And sure, I mean, it's kind of like things happen for a reason. I mean, I wouldn't be the mental health advocate that I am if I hadn't gone through terrible tragedies. And I lost my mom, unfortunately, way too soon because she was unfortunately abused by the broken mental health system. So listen, there's absolutely a reason on the other side for the struggle and strife. And you completely went through a lot and then you turned it all around and it's like this beautiful lotus flower.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
Yes,
if you choose the moment, I just like to throw that in there because sometimes really bad things happen to people and then they go completely affect and they don't see how they can actually turn it into something positive. So the fact that you have, and of course, I think you were saying something about that, obviously you're not trying to paint yourself in a certain light, but you are helping, and help is the most powerful, beautiful thing that you can give to somebody.
Yeah, I think it's, when you have a passion, you find your calling. And I know, I've been put on earth to really guide people. And I think even living up to your name, I think I've always felt like, okay, when you name your child or you have a special name, it's, it just happens that way. And I feel like I am fulfilling a lot of my destiny. I'm born as a Hindu, and obviously I'm not very religious per se, but I'm very spiritual. And I believe in reincarnation. I believe in karma. I believe in just the mind, body, spirit connection, and really embracing that as a whole and just helping others. I think, yes, going into the medical field as a physician, I have ways to do it. You ladies have ways to do it. We can all do it. And I think we just have to take a stand for what we believe in. And what I do with my patients is I tell them simply, I am not going to force you to do anything. I'm here as your guide. You're in the driver's seat. I'm sitting next to you. I'm going to guide you gently on your journey to wellness of the mind, body, spirit. And you can accept my help if you want. And for people to be there, to even step foot in my office, I commend them. It takes a lot. I'm not an insurance-based practice. I'm a fee-for-service practice. I spend about an hour and a half with patients. I provide so many services. So when I created Synergistic, it was the vision I had was to be a one-stop shop. It was basically what I want to offer a patient, everything that they can possibly do when they step foot into my office, so they don't have to go to 5 different places. And with my training as a family practitioner in primary care, we are taught to be jack of all trades and master of none. So I'm able to handle all those problems. In my new office in South Tampa, I actually have a fitness yoga studio. Because people come in, I want them to feel like they can release themselves. And as you guys had pointed out earlier with the children, just having that type of foundation with eating clean and doing exercise and just getting in touch with their inner self can make all the difference in their world. I don't think we have time to even take a deep breath, which is a tragedy. And I actually teach people, take at least 5 deep breaths, even if you're sitting in a traffic light. It makes you feel so different. It invigorates you. So
it's true. Being so busy these days, I'll be honest with you. I catch myself all the time holding my breath. I'm like, Jara, breathe.
Yes.
And just that, it's like the most basic and most important thing to survival is breathing. And yet sometimes we're not doing enough of it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's so great that you remind people to do that because, just basic things like taking a walk and enjoying nature, maybe taking your shoes off sometimes and walking on the beach and just actually
grounding yourself.
Yeah, definitely grounding yourself. I mean, the whole grounding area interests me a lot. I don't know if you know anything about it, but it's definitely important to connect to Earth.
It has its own energy for sure.
Yeah, so magnetic fields, and we are magnetic, and we have what resembles like an ocean inside of us with everything, the amount of water and the ions and the electromagnetic fields, and there's no alignment anymore. And this is why we have so much mental health issues. We're just so misaligned in every single way. So we have to realize how to get back on track. And there's many ways we can do it. And, whether it's a physical alignment, people kind of readjusting their spine and their body versus their mental, it's all, again, comes together. And we have to really teach people that the inner self is really what's going to help you radiate. And you got to take care of yourself, and especially as women, we do spend a lot of time taking care of others because we have a nurturing personality. And whether you're a sister or a mother or a wife, or a significant other, it takes a lot out of us. So I tell, especially my women, that you have to take care of yourself first before you take care of others, because we're so busy taking care of our children and our, significant others or our parents, even, especially when we're midlife. If you have children, you're taking care of the children, then you're taking care of your elderly parents, so it puts a lot of strain on our own, self-care. So I always remind people self-care, TLC.
Yes.
Yeah. Take a break every now and then, take a breath.
Those are very important lessons. And I know we don't have a ton of more time, but I really was hoping that you could get a chance to explain your spiritual retreats that you do every once in a while, these gyms.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I am a very spiritual person. I practice spiritualism. I wake up every morning, I chant mantras, as part of my culture, but you can just chant any phrases that you want and just reconnect. We just had our first wellness yoga retreat in the Dominican 2 weeks ago, myself and my nurse practitioner. The Dominican is a very special place to me. My boyfriend actually is known as Dominican Joe, and he's an advocate for children's education and their overall wellness, mental health and their physical health. And he started a school there. It's called the Dominican Joe Foundation.
Wow,
And
power
he's had-
couple. Yeah, seriously. Power couple alert. Okay, go ahead.
It's amazing. He did it because he suffered from an audio dyslexia when he was a child, and his parents never gave up on him. So he's like, I have to give back somehow and give these children a chance at the future. These are children who live in utter poverty, who they're literally, their parents probably make $200 a month. Their average income for the year is maybe $3,000. And he's had his first handful of college graduates. These are people who would have never left that small town and even completed school, and they have a lot of tragedy. These are people who lost parents. They might have, just suffered from accidents and things like that. So we chose the Dominican because we were very familiar with that, and the energy is great there. And it was about 15 people. We were sold out within the first week. And we taught them about wellness and connecting with mind, body, spirit. We did a cooking class, and I'm a plant-based physician. What you put in your body is what we express. I don't think, again, people understand that, you are what you eat. I know it's cliche, but food is your medicine or it's your poison. And the children these days, especially, and everybody, we're not eating the right things. And with the way the FDA and all this regulation is, there's no control over what goes into our food. We live in a very toxic world. A lot of mental health issues and physical issues come from what we are eating. We have to first stop and look at that. Those chemicals that we put in there's nothing organic, unfortunately. It's chemicals and it's hormones and it's pesticides. They are literally changing our genetics and predisposing us to all these terrible conditions. And we wonder why the rates of cancer, obesity, diabetes, heart disease have skyrocketed. We wonder why mental health issues have skyrocketed. And besides COVID, there are many other reasons why there is an increase in anxiety and ADD and depression. There are so many factors. This has been around for a long time. And I'm happy that it's now coming to light, and we are having, mental health advocacy and all those type of, platforms. But, it's something that we have to really embrace and have to be able to be fearless and speak up on. I think people think it's taboo, just like sexual health. Like, I have patients who come to me and I'm like, listen, tell me everything. I can't help you if you don't tell me everything. And, they feel comfortable with me. They know it's confidential. But like I mentioned, just putting everything together and making people feel comfortable is the way you're going to heal them. That's how you have to heal people, really. So these wellness retreats are really part of my overall mission in life, is to really spread the wealth of health. And I love educating the masses. I've appeared on the local news for the past several years, Bay News 9, ABC News. I do a lot of blogging, and just putting myself out there and speaking on these forums, especially anti-aging medicine. Like, I feel like that is a great opportunity for me to go up there and really preach what I practice. I practice what I preach, and I preach what I practice. And I like to be that role model.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's amazing.
And then, if I may, Miriam, just because we're coming to the last, I'd say about 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, no, I just want to make sure that we have Dr. Verma's the best way to get in touch with her. We have the website up there.
Yeah. So for the radio, because there's obviously we are on the radio, so a lot of people can't see this right now. So I'm just going to call it out. It's Synergistic Health, and that is spelled SYNERGISTIQHEALTH. So Synergistic with a Q Health. But also, Dr. Verma, if there's any kind of other way of reaching out to you via social media or a particular email address, anything that might even be easier for people to remember when they're listening on the radio, do you have anything you could call out for us?
Yeah, I am on Instagram. I mean, it's going to be under Dr. Deepa Verma, MD, so you can find me that way. Synergistic Wellness is the other handle on Instagram. You can absolutely message me on any of those platforms. I'm also on Facebook under Synergistic Wellness. My email's a little long, but it's Dr. Verma, Dr. Verma, and at synergistichealth.com. So similar to the website. I do have to say over 35% of my practice, probably close to even 40%, are people who are around the country. And I've always had that. It's been actually a blessing where it's a lot of word of mouth and referrals. People just don't seem to find a practice like synergistic integrative medicine because it's something that's not as mainstream yet. So I see people from New York to California. I've even had people from other countries contact me. But I am available for all that. And I think people have a difficult time finding a physician who is their advocate, because you have to be your own best advocate for your health.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of sad that, in traditional medicine, I hear so many terrible stories from my patients where they just feel ignored. People are sick and tired of feeling tired and sick. And we have
Thank goodness.
we have to get back on track. It's a tragedy, but I think people like you, physicians like myself, like we are all about helping people and bringing light to all these issues where people are scared to talk about it. It's not taboo. We need to talk about it.
Well, and we got to align and we got to unify and we got to stick together. And I feel like all the little islands that are all over the place, we get together and then it kind of turns into more of a movement. And definitely the movement is happening.
It's growing. I have to say that's the best thing I think that's come out of the last couple of years of such a, worldwide tragedy that occurred in 2020 and 2021. But the truth is that I genuinely believe that people's awareness is coming up, their willingness to confront things that they didn't want to confront before. And now there are things that are creating dialogue in our culture on a level that I've never seen before. And it's actually, I think that we are going to be entering a much more beautiful and brighter time because, like you said, even if it's taboo or was considered before, we are speaking about things now. We have platforms and a way to do it to bring awareness. And it's a beautiful time.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Verma, for educating and being such an advocate and helping so many people. It's vital what you're doing.
Yes. And by the way, if anyone listening on the radio did not get that, synergistic with a Q, synergistic.health.com, you can always go to The Chapters Wrap. That's RAP, The Chapters Wrap on YouTube or Facebook afterwards. And we have, we're live streaming. So there is a video and we have obviously all the links put right there. You can look at the link right there if you are driving in your car right now and had a little trouble with that.
Oh, good. Thank you so much, Jara.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Verma, it was such a pleasure meeting you. I can't wait to go to your spa. I need a spa day.
Yes, anytime. Yes, you're welcome. You and Miriam.
Miriam and I need to sign up for that right now.
Yes. You are
but
on the
also,
list.
thank you so much for what you're doing. It takes great courage to make that decision and then to be an advocate for, other forms of health. So thank you very much.
Well,
for
there's
what you're
definitely
doing.
leaders, right? I mean, you're such a leader.
Voices for change. We're trying to
Yes, I
change
love
things
it.
with our voices.
Yes, we are. Yes, beautiful
Keep the
voices.
movement
Yes.
going.
Thanks, ladies.
Oh my gosh. Well, Dr. Verma, is there anything that you would like to share before we end?
I mean, I always say to my patients, create a healthier and happier version of your existence. And if you actually break down that phrase, the healthier part is the physical sense and the happier part is your mental. And it's just, discover how good you can feel and never compare yourself to other people. Everyone is different. Everything's relative. And
Very
just,
true. That's an important one. Yeah, right.
yeah,
We're all
just-
individuals.
be the best that you've ever been. And don't be scared. I mean, there are people out there who want to help. And you just have to have a voice and you have to speak up.
Well, thank you so much for being on Voices for Change.
Yes, I know.
Yes. It's all the synergy. So Thanks,
exactly.
ladies.
It is. It's beautiful, powerful synergy. Thank you for
Yes.
creating positive energy.
Yes,
Thanks,
and definitely
ladies.
anyone out there, like she mentioned, that's having trouble or wants to somehow get off of their medication of any type, please reach out and she can help you in holistic ways to improve that portion of your life and maybe be freed of medication that you don't want to be on anymore.
Get on a path towards wellness.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Verma. Let's give it up for Dr. Verma.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I was waiting for the applause.
I know.
Bobby, where's the applause? Thank you so much.
I've been pouring my hands up here. Hang on.
Come on, Bobby. Bobby, by the way, runs the booth in the radio station, and we have Matt and Anna. Oh, there it is. Yay! Thank you so much, Dr. Verma.
Thanks, ladies. Have a wonderful
you.
night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, Miriam, what a beautiful show. Thank
Oh
you
my
for
gosh.
introducing Dr. Verma to us.
She's such a beautiful soul, right?
Yes. And of course, like I said, if you're listening on the radio right now, but you want to see the live feed afterwards, it'll be up probably at least by tomorrow. I think it goes live back up onto YouTube on The Chapters Wrap, RAP. So we're going to, any closing remarks, Miriam, in our last 2 minutes here?
Well, I just wanted to thank the Chapters Wrap for teaming up with Tan Talk and doing this radio show. We're airing in Tampa Bay and then New York, and then we're also doing live stream. And, we have also talked about different ways of branching out. And it's just, it's great that Chapters Wrap gives us this opportunity to work with Tan Talk. You know, Steve Vaquera decided a few years ago when I don't know, the world was kind of shutting down a little bit in 2020. And he said, that's it. I want to do something where people have a network for freedom of speech.
I love it. Yep.
So he's such a human rights advocate.
Incredibly powerful, especially because, you know, freedom of speech, one of our very basic human rights. I should just read that right now. Everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. That is Article 19 of our human rights.
Woo.
Thank you for giving us freedom of speech.
Yes, thank you so much. And I think
we should take it out with a song.
Yeah, why not? I was going to say, we're going to hear another one of your songs.
I don't know which one Bobby's going to pick, but I do want to tell the people out there, my name is Jera, Jierra, like Sierra, but with a J, Jierra.com. You can get my music. Please go buy my music. I would be great.
Yeah, support
the artists.
Yes.
Nobody else is right now.
Oh, come on. No, there are people
No, just
supporting
kidding.
artistry.
It's
There
great.
are definitely people supporting artistry. And listen, creative thought and the expression and building new worlds, like artists lead those movements. So
Yeah, let's go.
I really am happy that you are a freedom fighter and that you are singing on the stage.
Thank you, Missy. Thank you, everybody, for listening and tuning in. We'll see you next week, Wednesday, 6 to 7 Eastern Standard Time.
All right. Thank you. Have a blessed evening. Bye-bye.
Go, I'm a drive and I do not evade.